What is minimalism exactly? For many, minimalism conjures images of living in an almost empty white home. They think it's about depriving themselves, giving up things they care about, things they love, things they find useful, just to get to a small number of possessions. And if you consider yourself a minimalist, you may look at other minimalists and think you're doing it wrong. Look at that extreme minimalist. She doesn't have a TV and she sleeps on the floor. Or look at that guy. He uses the same soap as dishwasher liquid, shampoo and toothpaste.
Alright, here we go. It's the first time for everything. Brushing my teeth with shampoo.
I struggled with this as well when I became a minimalist. How much did I have to declutter to call myself a minimalist? But what I've learned since then is that minimalism is not dogmatic. It's not about an arbitrary low number of possessions that you need to size down to before you can call yourself a minimalist. It's more a mindset which goes way beyond the stuff that you own. In this video, I want to share the different definitions of minimalism that I found from well-known minimalists like Joshua Fields Millburn and Ryan Nicodemus, also known as the Minimalists, Leo Babauta, Joshua Becker and others, and see where they overlap and where they differ. And spoiler alert, I haven't found a single definition that had a number in it. I got the idea for this video from Tara White, who did a video called Defining Minimalism, and I thought I'd do my own take on it. So the first thing I found is that there's no minimalism rulebook. On his blog, No Sidebar, Brian Gardner writes, "Being a minimalist is a state of mind and not a set of rules." And in the FAQ on minimalist.com, Leo Babauta answers the question, what rules do I need to follow to become a minimalist? With, there are no set rules. There's no one way. What I suggest for living minimally isn't what someone else would recommend, nor is it how you would live your minimalist life. And this article in Elite Daily probably says it best. This minimal lifestyle also offers minimal rules. Minimalism is what you make of it. You can cherry pick. What works for me may not work for you. A single man or woman in their 20s has very different wants and needs than a parent of 3. And that's okay. Minimalism is a philosophy that can help them both. It's not restricting. So now that we've established that minimalism doesn't have a fixed set of rules, not a large body of work detailing every step of the way or else, let's see how people define minimalism. I first learned about minimalism when I watched Matt Nivella's Netflix documentary about the minimalist, Joshua Fields Millburn and Ryan Nicodemus. And they define minimalism as the thing that gets us past the things so we can make room for life's important things, which aren't things at all. That sounds very poetic, but it's also a bit flowery and vague. Luckily, they also define minimalism as a tool to rid yourself of life success in favor of focusing on what's important. So you can find happiness, fulfillment and freedom. Minimalists don't focus on having less. We focus on making room for more. More time, more passion, more creativity, more experiences, more contribution, more contentment, more freedom. What I like about this definition is that it's clear that minimalism is a means to an end. It's not a goal in and of its own. It's not about going through all your stuff, figuring out what you're going to get rid of and then donating it or selling it. No, that is just a means to an end, which is to create more freedom, more space in our life to figure out what we really care about, how we can spend our time more intentional. It's like minimalism is lifting the veil so we can see with more clarity. Joshua Becker defines minimalism in similar terms.
When you tell someone what minimalism is, what do you tell them?
Minimalism is the intentional promotion of the things we most value in life by removing anything that distracts us from it.
It's not that owning things is bad. It's that by accumulating more things than we need, we may lose sight of the things we truly value in life. It's like we're wearing a heavy armor and is weighing on us. But we don't know any better because everyone else is wearing a similar type of armor. Only when we take that armor off do we feel so much lighter and do we realize we can move so much more freely. Another definition I read was by Stephanie Severian, host of the Sustainable Minimalist podcast, in an article on oprahdaily.com. Minimalism is the intentional choice to live with less. And although this is technically true, I feel this definition doesn't do justice to why people practice minimalism. It focuses too much on the material aspects, as if minimalism is only about getting to the lowest possible number of possessions. And I think this is where people get the wrong idea about minimalism, that it's dry, no fun, that it sucks out all the joy of life. But it's important to understand that the reduction of physical possessions is often a result of minimalism, not minimalism itself, as Colin Wright said in one of his Exile Lifestyle blog posts. And Joshua Becker addresses this as well in his YouTube video, What is Minimalism?
It's about more than owning less. It's about taking back control over our lives.
And in his book Goodbye Things, Fumio Sasaki writes, for a minimalist, the object isn't to reduce, it's to eliminate distractions so they can focus on the things that are truly important. And elsewhere he writes, my definition of a minimalist is a person who knows what is truly essential for him or herself, who reduces the number of possessions that they have for the sake of things that are really important to them. And I think that is spot on. The goal of minimalism is not to live with less. The famous minimalism aphorism is less is more. Less stuff is more life. These two go hand in hand. Fumio Sasaki also introduced this concept of the silent to-do list. I've made a video about this before, which I will link to up here. It's this idea that all the things we own, our possessions, they have wants and needs. They want to be cared for. Our laundry wants to be done, the TV wants to be watched, the dishes want to be cleaned. And giving in to these claims to your attention can take up a lot of time. So by decluttering your possessions, by discarding the things you no longer need, you're shortening that silent to-do list, and then in return, you get more time, more freedom to focus on the things you truly care about. In his 1918 book, The Elements of Style, which is a style guide for writing, William Strunk Jr. wrote, a sentence should contain no unnecessary words. A paragraph, no unnecessary sentences. For the same reason that a drawing should have no unnecessary lines and a machine no unnecessary parts. This requires not that the writer makes all his sentences short, or that he avoid all detail and treat his subjects only in outline, but that every word tell. And I think this works as a perfect analogy for the minimalist lifestyle. It's not a race to the bottom, having as few possessions as possible. Instead, it's about focusing on the things that we truly care about, that we really value. And when we discard of things we no longer care about, we're not depriving ourselves of anything, or at least not of anything that matters to us. It's like the visual designer Nicholas Burroughs said, minimalism is not a lack of something, it's simply the perfect amount of something. And what the perfect amount is differs per person. Remember, minimalism has minimal rules. It's a way of thinking to live with more intention, to reflect when you're in a shop before buying on impulse. Lori Lee Lippincott wrote, being a minimalist isn't a ticket into an elite group or defined by a number of possessions. Being a minimalist is something that starts in the mind and is driven by intangibles. The visible and tangible is only a byproduct of intentional living decisions. You get to be in charge of how you apply that mindset in your life, and nobody else. If you still have a couple of throw pillows on your sofa like I do, who are others to judge you for that? It's your house. Maybe you had 10 throw pillows before. Or maybe you always had 3, but you really cared about them and you decided to keep them when you decluttered a lot of other things in your apartment. What's important is that you make minimalism work for you. It's not a doctrine, it's a way to bring more joy to your life. It's a way to focus on the things you really care about, you really value, and get rid of the things that are just cluttering your vision. And I think that's sometimes forgotten when we see all these picture-perfect minimalist videos and minimalist apartments on Pinterest. Yes, it looks clean and modern and Scandinavian and whatnot, but it can also look a bit dry and give people the wrong idea about minimalism. Ultimately, it's a way to live a more fulfilled, intentional, joyful life. If you want to know what else I learned as a minimalist, I made a video called 3 Lessons from 1 Year of Minimalism, which you can watch right here. So thanks for watching, hope to see you there, and take care. Bye!